Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to my kitchen. This morning I'm going to be making Tommy and I some brunch, which is only being called brunch because we woke up late and now it's kind of too late to call it breakfast. But today I'm going to be making scrambled eggs and bacon. So I'm going to teach you how I make my scrambled eggs and cook my bacon. So let's get into it. Alright, so I'm going to start by preparing my egg mixture. I've got 5 eggs here because I like 2 eggs, Tommy likes 3. So I'm going to crack my eggs into a bowl. If you get a shell in there, you can either wet your finger with water and kind of scoop it out, or you can just use the shell. Scoop it out, so there it is. Alright, so I'm going to rinse my fingers off since I have raw egg on my hands. And got my fork so that I can whisk it up. But before I do that, I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of water. Water will make your eggs fluffy. And 1.5 tablespoons of milk. Milk makes your eggs creamy. I'm also going to add a pinch of pepper and a pinch of salt. So when I say a pinch, that means that it's really not going to be much. You also want to take it easy on the salt because we're going to be cooking these in a little bit of bacon fat, which is going to be really salty in itself. So now I'm just going to mix it together until it's well combined. You can see that every once in a while I kind of take a scoop down to the bottom just to make sure that there isn't any yolk or white that's kind of just chilling down there. I want to make sure that I get it all mixed in. I'm not hugely picky if there's chunks of egg white in there because that doesn't bother me. I enjoy scrambled egg whites, so having some bits of egg whites is not a big deal to me, but I don't really like having big chunks of yolk in there, so I at least want to make sure that the yolk is all mixed in. Alright, looks good. So I'm just going to set this to the side and I'm going to go make my bacon. Alright, so I'm ready to cook my bacon. I'm going to turn my heat up to a medium low-ish. I have it on 4, and I'm going to let this heat up, and then once it's hot, I'll come back. Alright, so my pan is nice and hot, so we're ready to put in the bacon. I know it's hot because when I take a little bit of water on my fingers and splash it into the pan, the water quickly evaporates. So that's how I know it's nice and hot. So, got my bacon here. We've got thick cut bacon. And now I'm going to place in a couple of pieces. I'm going to do a total of 5 pieces because I like 2 and Tommy likes 3. You want to make sure that they aren't overlapping, otherwise they aren't going to cook on the bottom. You want to make sure that they're making as much contact as possible with the bottom of the pan. Also, you probably don't want to poke these around with your fingers, but I have asbestos fingers, which basically just means that they're all used to heat. Alright, so I'm going to let these cook. I'm going to be turning them periodically. And yeah, I'm just going to cook them until they're nice and crispy. So I will show you that, but I'll probably show it to you in fast motion and with no sound. So while the bacon is cooking, I'm going to cut up some pineapple. So what we're going to have on the side of our bacon and eggs, figured I'd show you how I cut a pineapple. So the hot spot of this pan is definitely in the center. You can see that these ones are cooking quickest and they're cooking the most in the center. So I want to make sure that the ones on the outside still get that opportunity. So I'm going to kind of move the ones that are cooking really fast on the inside to the outside, give them a little flip. Really any part that isn't cooking as quickly as other parts, I will try and move towards the center. And that goes for the ends too. You'll see that as they get closer to being done, I'll kind of position them up like that so that the bottoms of them get cooked as well. Alright, so my bacon's done, my pineapple's all cut. This is the same pan that I used for cooking the bacon. You can still see that it has some of the grease in there and some of like the little bacon pieces in there. I drained off a good amount of the fat because I don't want all of the fat in my eggs, but they are going to add a lot of flavor to the eggs, so I am going to leave a little bit of the fat in there. I did just about enough to leave a coating on the bottom. I'm also going to add a little bit of butter. Not a ton, probably about a teaspoon of butter. So I'm going to turn the heat back on to that same 4 area. You can see that the pan's still pretty hot. I'm going to move it all around. Now this spatula, this rubber spatula, is heat proof. So, well, not heat proof, but it can withstand really high temperatures. So that's why I'm using this. You wouldn't want to just use like any old rubber spatula. I spread it around, kind of shake it around a little bit so that everything's nice and coated. And once I feel like it's all nice and coated, I will pour in my eggs. Now when I make my eggs, what I look for is cooking around the edge, and I start to look for it to turn kind of opaque at the bottom, which means that it's not like clear or see-through. I don't want to see like the top layer turning opaque, but like the very bottom, right on the bottom of the pan is a good sign. So now I can see that it's pretty well cooked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pushing the cooked egg in towards the center. So I'm going to go all around the outside. I'm going to push the cooked parts of the eggs into the center. A lot of people stir it at this point. That kind of provides a strange texture in my opinion. I like to keep my eggs nice and fluffy, so that's what just pushing them into the center will do. if you stir it, they get kind of dense, they get really broken up, and I like to have nice, big, fluffy pieces of egg. So I'm going to keep doing this where as soon as I see it start to cook around the edges, I'll kind of scoop around and push into the center. You also want to scrape in the center too, because you don't want the eggs to get like burnt in the middle. So you just kind of keep moving it around, folding it, not stirring it. When I get to this point, I kind of like to spread it out so that hopefully the uncooked egg on the top will get cooked. It'll hopefully drip down. And then I'll take it and I'll kind of try and flip it. Your goal is just to get any of that runny egg turned to the bottom of the pan so that it can get cooked. Now if you like more of a moist egg, you can take it out at this point. I prefer a dry egg. But since I'm cooking on electric, I can turn the heat off because it retains a lot of heat. And there we go. I'd say my eggs are done. So I'm gonna go get some plates. I'm gonna serve everything up and then I'll come back to you. And that's that. That's how I make my scrambled eggs and bacon. Over here we've got Tommy's with 3 eggs and 3 pieces of bacon, and over here is mine, 2 eggs, 2 pieces of bacon. We've got a little fruit to kind of balance things out. Let me know if you tried at home. Let me know if you have another way of making your eggs that you think is better or that you enjoy more. And I hope you have a great day. See you on Friday.